All right, so this is the contrabass flute. I affectionately refer to this instrument as Big Bertha. Big Bertha she has a 4.5 octave range, and so the lowest notes of the instrument, the pure notes of the instrument, are soft but very rich and beautiful, almost like if a bass clarinet and a didgeridoo had a love child. That's kind of what you would get. But you can also overblow them and get higher partials. And you can even play up into the high register of the flute and get sounds like that. Now the sounds of the keys themselves are almost like their own percussion instrument. And so contemporary composers, when they write for this instrument, love to use the full range of its percussive and also aerophonic capabilities. And so in one of the pieces that I'm playing, by Dai Fujikura, wonderful composer based here in London, that'll be playing with the Philharmonia on Sunday, he asks for an electric guitar, distorted electric guitar type of sound by overblowing on some of the lowest notes of the instrument. So it sounds kind of like this. So this is the bass flute, and it looks and actually feels quite small after having held the contrabass flute. But it is often people, when I play this at a concert, they say, "Did you pull that out of the plumbing in your bathroom wall?" And it looks a little bit like something that came out of your bathroom wall. But it's a beautiful instrument. Has the range of a cello essentially, so it can play very melodically and also very percussively, not quite as percussively as Big Bertha, but it's got a considerable range. And so I'll just play, actually for comparison, the same two little melodies that I played, a jazz tune and the A minor partita, just so you can hear the difference in sound. It's from Black Orpheus. Etc., etc. And the Bach sounds, well, a little bit like this. Or etc., etc. So on the other end of the spectrum, the smallest flute that I brought with me in my collection of instruments that I brought from New York to London this week is this little whistle that was made for me by my friend, the director and artist Douglas Fitch. And it sounds like this. So this is the C flute, the regular flute, although there's really nothing regular about it. It's an extraordinary instrument, and I've been in love with it since I was 3 years old, and I will be in love with it for the rest of my life. It'll keep teaching me things. So I'm going to play a couple of those same techniques that I played on the bass flute with some variations on the C flute, just so you can hear the differences. That kind of speaking that I did on the bass flute, it sounds quite different on the C flute, and this is a technique that's used by Dai Fujikura, also in his flute concerto that I'll be playing on Sunday with the Philharmonia. And it sounds like this at the beginning. Etc., etc. So it's a lot of fun. The singing techniques that I demonstrated are a little bit different on this instrument. It sounds an octave higher than the bass flute. So the way that the instrument resonates with the female voice, with the high voice, is quite different. And Dai Fujikura took advantage of that by asking me if I could glissando with my voice like that into the flute. And so this is what that sounds like. Speaking of glissandoing, you know, flutists have always been jealous of trombonists and violinists and vocalists, for that matter, who can traverse their entire instrument without depressing any keys. It's always astounded me that, you know, a violinist who's only played the instrument for a couple of days can go all the way up and all the way down. We don't have that capacity. So several years ago, the great flutist Robert Dick introduced this amazing head joint to the flute community, and it's a glissando. It's called a glissando head joint, and it enables you to glissando not over the entire instrument, but you can glissando over intervals that that aren't available to us on the traditional flute. So things like it's a lot of fun to play.